Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday, the 26th of April. What's in store today? Well, we've got the Bank of Japan governor speaking, there's some volatility kicking through there. Rates weren't strengthened, there was probably possible a bit of disappointment to what. I mean, the forecast was no change anyway, but the comments coming out there is not particularly helping the yen strengthen either. So at the moment, we're seeing the yen weaken even further. That's probably the only thing that is weakening against the dollar. Later on today, we've got the core personal consumption expenditure price index. Now, this is quite key. It's the Fed hang on to this number quite a lot, so that's at 130, so do be prepared for quite a bit of volatility around that 130 mark. We've got the revised consumer sentiment a little bit later at 3 o'clock, so it's that 130 bit of news for the US. Just be very, very wary because it can give quite a kicker. Right, let's have a look at the technicals then. We start for the euro dollar. Well, yesterday's date, actually, I'm saying look at the technicals, but it was still sort of hanging into yesterday's data. The advanced GDP came in, well, the headline figure there came in at 1.6 versus 2.5. That was lower, but the rest of the numbers I saw were all looking above expectation. So it was a bit of a mixed bag in some respects there. Yeah, so it was suggesting a bit more of a hard landing than expected. Wasn't what the equity markets wanted, and etc. Anyway, technically here we did see a rally. We then saw a minor rally. Then we saw it sell. You'll see on the 60 minutes in a second. But there you go. That was the move that's occurred. Effectively, sold off immediately, rallied. And currently we're seeing the euro rally further. Today, at the moment, it looks like it could be heading up towards its R1 this morning. It's not that far away from it. Hasn't got the best risk reward from where it is at the moment, but it's got a good probability of that getting up there and hitting. This line I've got on here has no absolute strength. It's the only line out of the two is the trend line at the bottom here. It is a channel it's running in, though some will sell into a top of a channel. So you could say, well, it has something. Well, the only thing that's sitting there is what the pivot itself that's kicking through. That's been tested though. So there is a chance we could see a continuation of this. It might just pop out, hit the R1 and roll over. We've got, as I say, key data later on. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of the doldrums once it settles this morning and through till 1:30. But at the moment it's looking a bit more on the positive side of things. The pound similarly looking more positive. The 4 hourly here, again higher lows confirmed through. We saw that move breakout of the pivot, breakout through, and those prior highs there. It came back, retested that area, and a nice bounce. Now, whatever drove it to retest that area really doesn't matter. Technically, that's a really nice trade movement there, which we've seen, and now we're sort of hanging around, and we could get a break and a continuation up to its R1 as well. This looks a bit better than the euro does in terms of the potential reward to the risk. Anyway, we'll see what happens post 8 o'clock on that. US dollar yen. So at the moment, the pound looks probably the better opportunity. The euro is obviously the easier because it's already near its pivot. The US dollar yen. Well, this is just going to the moon, literally. For those guys, I keep on showing you the sort of percentage of retail traders that are already in short positions, not those that think it's going to go short, those that are holding short positions. And I wouldn't be mind betting there's more being added to this. Yep, at some stage I'm sure it's going to go over, but you don't want to be betting against this move. And look at the size of the move this morning. It's flown. Choppy old day yesterday did have some effect, but relatively we've had this large move coming in on the news this morning. So this move so far, I'm not going chasing for that. Aussie US dollar, like the euro and the pound, but it's been pushing up through here. The only difference is on the up time frames here, already through its R1, it's off. The commodity currencies seem to be catching the moves this morning, and this is well off at the on the way to races. Probably far too far to try and catch anything. Likewise with the US CAD. Solid down movement here at this moment. We had that blip up there yesterday where the dollar regained, but it didn't last long, and we've rolled over since, and well, untouched daily pivot, but we're almost down into the S1. This could even float beyond that, I guess, but it started moving again last couple of hours there away from the consolidation, looking still relatively solid for the downside. New Zealand dollar inverted. It's well, I say inverted. It's New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and this is pushing up as well. Not as fast as the Aussie, but it's going there. Same sort of price action. It's broken through. Actually, it's not quite into its R1 at the moment. Probably a bit of divergence off the lower time frames where it's sitting at the moment. US dollar Swissy. More consolidated, not pushing either way particularly hard. The Swissy, it's a mess. Look, would you really want to be trading that? Well, possibly. It's coming up. Well, you've got the chance down to the S1 from where it is at the moment, but it's one ugly mess as it sits there on the higher time frames in particularly, and it's quite slow. Okay, likes the euro yen here flying up. Again, as I said, with the dollar yen, yeah, I almost say every day, please don't short this. But I can imagine there's people wanting to catch these tops. I'll leave it there. Okay, that's the majors there. I'll look at the others in the room in a short while. The indices, and well, let's look at gold first. Gold's catching a bit of a movement this morning on the shorter time frames here. Well, it's easing its way back up there. This is a 4 hourly. It's a 4 hourly. Get the daily on there. I've clicked on the wrong button somehow. Starting to get a move there. Let's get a proper 4 hourly. Yeah, messy. What's going on with my charts? I've lost a chart. That's what it is. I've lost my daily chart. It's unfloated itself. Let me see if I can re-find it. Right. I knew something was wrong. There it is. Just here, look. I've somehow unpegged this. Crikey, there we go. That's better. Now that 4 hourly can be back to a 4 hourly. I thought it was weird when I was clicking on the top here. Right, anyway, this is daily 4 hourly. 60 minute. Pushing up there. It's heading to the upside a little bit there. I mentioned the fact that it is consolidating away from the lows, which generally sees it moving towards the higher side here, and well, it's doing just that at the moment. Right, oil also catching the bid here. Generally, when we see a weaker US dollar, it pushes the price of oil. Oil prices tend to rise, and it's doing just that. Not massively, and it's quite tiny what we're seeing here. It was yesterday evening again when it really started moving on the oil price there. Prior to that, it actually been a normal sort of 2 o'clock move. Did come to the downside, but still in this horrible price action overall, and just not trading it at the moment. S&Ps. Well, we closed yesterday on some positive notes with some data coming out. It's Tesla and I can't remember, was it Meta? I can't remember, one of the other biggies, giving a bit of cheer to the market, but well, it's hanging in there. It's a real pig's ear, and well, yesterday when I was looking at it, yeah, well, it's dropping off the news, around the news, etc. It's really reacting at the moment for all this news coming in. There's still some big news coming out today, so I would tread carefully on this, along with, of course, the inflation data as well. That could have quite a move on it as well. Here's the news yesterday that the markets didn't like the hard landing. Possibly they didn't like that inflation. GDP figure. I'll get it out in a moment. Anyway, there we go. Right, just come through here. We're seeing this pretty much on the other markets as well, following suit on these equity markets. DAX yesterday, well, managed to finally end up a bit of a bounce, but prior to that, it had sold off through. Right away through the morning there into the afternoon when the data changed. At the moment, looking at shorter time frames, I wouldn't be surprised if it was to break the pivot here and start rolling over. That could be on for its S1, maybe more. It's looking a bit iffy there at the moment. The FTSE, just run through it quickly. FTSE's flying out there yesterday. Consolidating around these highs at the moment. It's into its weekly R2, which might just hold it up there, but it's gone quite ugly on the lower time frames here. Well, if you can break that, is a quarterly R1 and its weekly R2. Yesterday it was running into its R2. There's lots of R2s being hit yesterday, which was putting the brakes on for it. So if it can break some of those today, possible highs, but I wouldn't go looking to short that one. Right, anyway, there we go. That's it for me today. I haven't looked at just have a quick look. I haven't looked at the old Bitcoin for a while. Normally do on a Friday, but as you can see here, there's not a lot to shout about on this either. So many of these markets are just not going anywhere particularly. It's a very seesaw sort of movement with different figures coming out there and how they're having their knock-on effect. Well, this pretty much sums it up. People aren't sure where things are going at this stage. Right, I'll leave you there. Have a great weekend for you YouTubers. I'll catch you Monday morning. Take care. Bye for now. Right.